746, Tara Sloan.
Well, from family vacations to buying a second car, there are plenty of ways we can go broke. Thankfully, in their new book, 10 Ways to Stay Broke Forever, GoldenGirlFinance.com gurus Laura McDonald and Susan Misner share helpful tips to make sure the title of the book does not become your life story. I was going to say, like, I know how to stay broke forever. I'm pretty good at this, but of course, the aim is exactly the opposite. You have traditionally geared your work towards women. You sort of say it's kind of an underserved market in the world of finance. But this is for everybody.
Yeah, our first book, It's Your Money, Honey, was definitely geared towards women, and we have a website, GoldenGirlFinance.com, that is also geared towards women, though we have a lot of male readers. We just try to change up the voice of finance to make it a little bit more engaging and relevant to modern times, if you will. But this book, we wanted to write, everybody has some debt issues, I think. It's still one our readers talk to us a lot about, and so it's written for both men and women.
Okay, and this literally is a top 10 ways that people sort of throw their money away, I guess.
Yeah, you know, we all sort of go through life sometimes just sort of unconsciously spending, or even when we're buying houses and cars. In many cases, we're overspending. We're seeing Canadians financing 95% of their car purchase.
Right.
Yeah, over longer and longer periods, so they can afford a more expensive car. And that's the interesting thing, is affordability. We think if we can afford the monthly payment, we can actually afford the car, and that's not necessarily the case.
Right. What's the end game when you purchase or finance big?
Well, you should look at, you know, financing no longer than 3 years, and if you can't afford the monthly payment over a 3-year period, then really you can't afford the car.
That's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize, I mean, car is just one of the big, it's not an investment, it's a depreciating asset. So you can get a great used car a couple of years old, let somebody else pay the depreciation on the new car. There's a stat that says in North America, the average person's had about 9 new cars in their lifetime, and that's down from 13. And to me, that's an astounding number. We're talking new cars, not just slightly used. So a lot of money is really being put there. And if you can afford it, great. But we're seeing people who can't afford it, and that's where it becomes, you know, an issue. You need to have some wealth building in your life.
Okay, well, let's go through some of these. I marked some down that I think is really relevant right now. Finance everything. That is number one way to stay broke forever is finance everything. So that's exactly what you're talking about.
Basically, exactly what we're talking about. You know, we talk about it in the book, the monthly payment trap. We've got into this cycle because debt is so easily accessible that we can get it and we can finance our lives based on a monthly payment, and if we can afford the payment, we just go for it. And really, when all you're doing is paying monthly payments, you're paying a lot of interest, and you end up just renting your life, whether it's your house or your car.
And that's what you say. Number 2 is pay the minimum on everything. I mean, for people who might not understand the implications of that, what happens when you simply pay the minimum on everything?
Well, you're building no equity. You're just more and more reliant on debt, and so you're really never getting into a place of saving. Everything is costing you. If you put something on your credit card and you're paying the minimum, it's going to cost you double or more. So I mean, you might go find a deal on something, but in the end, it's no deal at all. You're just continuing to make interest payments and getting ahead, not getting ahead in any fashion.
Okay, this is a fantastic top 10. I really recommend this for people like me, if you're like me. And number 10 on your list, by the way, was eat out, and I am guilty of that. It's tough. You're busy with the family, but that just gouges away.
It really does, and you know what? It's the biggest controllable expense that we see in our budgets, whether it's groceries and eating out. You can really cut out a lot of unnecessary spending. You know, we saw an article in the New York Times, I think it was, that talked about Generation Y spending 25% of their disposable income on eating out. We've got this whole generation of foodies, and
they're not going to McDonald's. They're going to have like pickled lamb's tongue. The article said. So, we really think, go splurge here and then, but just decide what you really value and what brings real joy to your life, and cut out the rest.
Okay, before I let you go, what's the last mistake either of you made financially? Can you even think of one?
You said you bought a new car once, right?
I did buy a new car once. Guilty. I did pay cash for it, though. But it, you know, although I paid cash for it, when you look at the total amount that you spent on that car, having invested it, you know, I would have been way further ahead.
Well, and this is why they are the ones dispensing the advice. Laura McDonald, Susan Misner, goldandgrowfinance.com is the way to find them. We'll put links on our site, breakfasttelevision.ca. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We have a check in the Jill coming up after the break and a check on weather.
And at 7:51, that check going to show this temperatures on the rise starting today. Back to average by tomorrow. And wait to see what's in store for the weekend. We got the full scoop right here. Breakfast Television on City.